Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new Pokemon TCG video. Today's deck is going to be a very unusual one. It is reminiscent to a strategy that I had taken a look at a very long time ago. One of my earliest videos actually. So the strategy is going to revolve around the Swampert EX, which is going to be the only attacker in our deck. The deck is going to work in a similar fashion to that of the Heatmore. I'm not sure if you guys quite remember how that works, but essentially what we're going to try and do is we're going to take advantage of the Mud Flood attack. So whenever we use the Mud Flood attack, it hits for an initial 40 damage and an additional 40 damage per water energy card we reveal. So we reveal the top 4 cards of our deck. Each of those that happens to be water energy cards allows us to increase the total damage output of that Swampert EX. So we could potentially hit for up to 200 damage, which seems a bit far-fetched, and I mean normally it would be. However, since our deck is going to be primarily composed of those water energy cards, that Swampert EX can be an absolutely menacing and powerful Pokemon. So some cards that we are running just to allow us to get our strategy running a little bit earlier. One of the most important ones is going to be the Other Item card. This will allow us to reveal the top card of our deck. Again, keep in mind that 66.6% of our deck is composed of water energy cards, and if we happen to reveal an energy card, we can go and attach that to the Swampert EX. So chances are very high that we will be revealing a water energy card, so that Ether is exceptionally useful and powerful early in the game when we really need to try and put that pressure on the opponent. So we are running 4 copies of the Ether. Again, just a very useful card. We're also running a total of 4 copies of the Repeat Ball. I mean, what's the point of us playing a game in which we repeatedly hit for massive amounts of damage, but as soon as our first Swampert EX happens to get knocked out, we lose the game. So that Repeat Ball is quite useful as well. Will allow us to grab onto those Swampert EXs and then lay them down into the bench. We're also running a total of 4 copies of the Skyla supporter card. This will allow us to search our deck for any trainer card that we need. So I don't really think I need to discuss it a whole lot. We can use it to look for that Repeat Ball, the Silent Lab, the Ether, anything like that. So Skyla is just a nice card to include. We are running 4 copies of it. We're running a total of 3 copies of the Silent Lab. This will shut down all basic Pokemon's special abilities in play. So mainly this is for us to be able to counter safeguard decks that run, of course, Sigilif and the Suicune. Could also be nice just to make life a little bit more difficult for our opponents for decks that are running cards such as the Shaman EX, the Jirachi EX, things like that. So we are running 3 copies of the Silent Lab, and the very last card in the deck is going to be the Computer Search. Again, just a very flexible card like the Skyla. However, we're not restricted to a single one in any given turn. We can actually, well, I mean, unlike Skyla, we can't just make use of one and then that's going to be our supporter for the turn. Computer Search is very flexible, and yeah, so that is pretty much our deck composition. Again, just a very brief deck overview, but this is more so of a fun deck, guys, I would say, as opposed to a competitive one. I mean, it's highly luck based, but as you guys can see, I've managed to pull quite a few wins. I have 7 overall wins with the deck at the moment. I was actually playing around and I had joined a standard tournament, and surprisingly I managed to come 2nd place in the tournament. So that Swampert EX, when it does put on the pressure early enough, it can be very difficult for the opponents to be able to deal with. Looks like the opponent is going to be able to start first, and looks like we're going to start off with the Swampert EX in our hand, so that's kind of nice. Silent Lab as well, a Repeat Ball, but it is unfortunate that we don't have any Skylas or the Ethers, again, just because they're such useful cards, and they're what really allow us to apply that pressure early on. So the opponent is running some sort of steel deck, and we are seeing the Caldeo EX, a Kyurem coming onto the opponent's bench. That's a little bit unusual. We don't really see a whole lot of Kyurem anymore. Maybe I could be wrong. It may be a Team Plasma Kyurem sort of deck, but I'm not sure. I don't really know. Maybe the opponent is just running a whole lot of different types of Pokemon. We are seeing the Dive Ball though, so let's see what the opponent decides to grab. Looks like it is going to be that Suicune. So you know what, I'm going to save that Silent Lab, guys, just in case the opponent tries to get rid of ours by laying down their own Stadium card. We are seeing the Jirachi EX coming out into play as well, so that's why that Silent Lab is a very important Stadium card. I mean, otherwise this would have been an auto loss. So the opponent is going to look for that Skyla. Possibly we're going to see the Switch card, maybe the Float Stone, to allow that Keldeo EX to be able to freely retreat. Yeah, looks like the opponent is going to look for that float stone, and then he's going to bring out that very menacing Suicune. But again, as long as we have the Silent Lab, that Suicune shouldn't cause us too much trouble. Alright, so I'm gonna go and use that repeat ball to look for a Swampert EX and then lay down in our bench. Let's go and attach a water energy card on our active Swampert EX and then end the turn. Would love to be able to get a Skyla, Computer Search, or the Editor during our next turn, and hopefully we can take care of the opponent's Suicune. I mean, I think it would be a bit of a blow to him, thinking that I've pretty much lost the game because I have the Swampert EX out, but again, we do have that Silent Lab in our hand, so that is just maybe our little secret to perhaps achieving victory. Alright, so we are seeing a Kyogre EX coming down on the opponent's bench as well. That Keldeo EX rushing in the escape rope, forcing our active Swampert EX to go onto our bench, and the Swampert EX is going to take 70 damage. So I'm going to go and attach another water energy card on our bench Swampert EX, and then unfortunately I'm going to have to go and end the turn. Again, I'm a bit reluctant to lay down the Silent Lab. The opponent is going to use that VS Seeker. We are seeing the Skyla once again. Not sure what our opponent is going to be looking for this time around. Possibly a Juniper or something like that that they can make use of during their next turn. That Suicune is going to attack us though, hitting that Swampert for 70 damage once again. Let's go and attach a water energy card on our Swampert EX and then end the turn. Again, we're not really getting all that lucky in terms of the cards that we are drawing. I mean, we've only been able to get rid of one repeat ball, and again, we do have the Silent Lab in our hand, which I will absolutely be laying down during our next turn and sending that Suicune to the discard pile. The opponent is going to look for that Lysander using that Skyla, but not a particularly useful card at this point. I mean, of course, because the opponent has already used their supporter for the turn. So VS Seeker once again. My goodness, how many VS Seekers has the opponent already played? Okay, so it looks like it's just 2, but I don't know. It just seems to me like they've just played a whole ton. Alright, so finally that Swampert EX is going to be our active Pokemon. I'm going to go and attach another water energy card to him. Let's go and lay down that Silent Lab. I just want to ensure that we knock out our opponent's Suicune, and then let's go and use that Hydro Tackle, hitting him for 120 damage, and that will allow us to draw our very first prize card. Awesome, looks like we have another Silent Lab in our hand. Would love to be able to perform a one-hit knockout on the opponent's Kyogre EX, but we're seeing the Kyogre Spirit Link, the Primal Kyogre making its appearance. Luckily for us, that Swampert EX does have 160 HP, so even if the opponent was somehow able to miraculously load up that Tidal Storm attack, it would still be short with respects to being able to perform a one-hit knockout on us. So we're seeing that Professor's Letter, allowing the opponent to be able to grab onto 2 water energy cards. That Primal Kyogre EX could potentially retreat in case the opponent decides to rush in with his Keldeo EX and then switch out to one of the bench Pokemon. I'm not entirely sure whether or not we will be seeing that. So again, we're just waiting to see what the opponent decides to do. At this point, I really need a Skyla or another repeat ball. I'm not really sure how much longer our active Swampert EX is going to be able to survive. Unfortunately, with the opponent having been able to start off first, I felt like that immediately put us at a disadvantage just because our deck is one that really aims to put the pressure early on the opponent, and if we're unlucky enough to start to go second, then it usually doesn't tend to work all that well. So I'm gonna go and use that Skyla to look for that repeat ball and then bring out a second Swampert EX on our bench. So let's go and bring him out. Let's go and attach a water energy card, and then let's go and use that Mud Flood. Would love again to get 4 water energy cards. Looks like it's only going to be 3, hitting that Primal Kyogre EX for 160 damage. That is still a very impressive amount. We are seeing the Skyla on the opponent's end once again. That Primal Kyogre EX is lacking the ability to perform that one-hit knockout on our Swampert EX, so I feel like we should be safe unless the opponent has the Hypnotoxic Laser, which they are running in their deck. I mean, that would absolutely spell a whole lot of trouble for us. So it looks like our Swampert EX is going to survive, so that's kind of nice. Unfortunately, that Primal Kyogre EX is going to hit our bench Swampert EX for 30 damage as well. So if we see another Primal Kyogre EX making its appearance, that could spell a lot of trouble for us. Alright, so let's go and use that Mud Flood. I'm positive we're going to reveal at least 1 water energy card, and looks like it's going to be 3, so hitting our opponent for 160 damage, once again allowing us to draw onto 2 additional prize cards. Looks like the opponent's Kyurem is going to make its appearance, and I mean, at this point I feel like what I'm going to start doing is using these Skylas to remove any sorts of trainer cards from our deck, just to increase the probability of us being able to hit for some more damage using the Mud Flood attack. So let's see what the opponent decides to do. I don't think they have the Primal Kyogre EX in their hand. If they do, that Kyogre EX is currently missing the Spirit Link, so we should be safe at least for an additional turn, hopefully, again, with the active Swampert EX. Of course, the opponent could potentially just rush in with that Kyogre EX and then retreat to bring out that other Kyogre EX, but it looks like the opponent is not going to do that. So I'm going to go and attach a Water Energy card onto the benched Swampert EX. Let's go and use that Skyla and look for an additional Skyla. I could also look for the Computer Search and trim down our deck a little bit more. You know what, I think I'm going to go and look for the Skyla and use it again during the next turn. Let's go and use that Repeat Ball and bring out the very last Swampert EX that we have onto our bench. Let's go and use that Mud Flood attack and 4 Water Energy cards hitting for a massive 200 damage, allowing us to draw onto an additional prize card. Okay, so all we need to do is knock out one of our opponent's EX Pokemon, and then we should be able to take the game. We are seeing the Rough Sea Stadium card. That's also going to help us a little bit, especially that Swampert EX, which currently has 150 HP. But maybe the opponent decided to lay it down because they'd like to bring out a Suicune onto their bench. But things are definitely looking our way right now. That Kyogre EX is going to knock out our Swampert EX. So I think I'm going to go for one final kill. Well, at least I'm really hoping we can pull off that one final kill. So let's go and attach that Water Energy card onto the bench Swampert EX. I'm going to go and look for that Computer Search, and then I'm going to go and use it to get rid of 2 Water Energy cards in our hand. What would I like to be able to grab into? I think it's going to be an additional Skyla. At this point, I mean, we don't have a whole lot of trainer cards remaining in our deck, so we should hopefully be able to get the knockout. I'm gonna hold off on the Silent Lab right now, or you know what, let's go and lay down, because again I do have the Skyla in our hand, so we could absolutely grab onto another Silent Lab. Let's go and use that Mud Flood, and we are gonna get those 4 Water Energy cards and go on to the victory. So that is awesome. And yeah, so looks like our luck was able to pull through. So thank you guys very much for watching. If you guys did enjoy this video, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you guys next time.